You have traced your drawing with crayon by going over all of the pencil lines really carefully and pressing down hard with different colors of crayon. And today you are ready to paint. So I'm going to show you some tricks to painting with watercolors. The first trick is that to make your paint, you need to dip your brush in the water, and then you need to dip your brush into the paint tray. And that's going to be how you create that paint. I want you to notice that I am just very gently pressing the hairs of my brush into the paint. I am not letting the metal part of my brush touch the paint. You do not want the metal part of your brush to touch the paint because that will ruin the paint and it will ruin your brush. So we're only going to touch the hairs to the paint. And then when I'm painting, I can paint inside of my lines, or I'm going to show you how you could paint over your lines. If I need to get more paint, I can dip my brush into the water. I'm going to very gently touch just the hairs to the paint. And then I could also decide to paint over my lines. If I don't want to paint in every shape a different color, you can just paint over it and fill your paper up that way. If I want to change colors, what I need to do is rinse out my brush really well because I don't want my colors to mix. And then I can go and get a different color of paint. Remember, I'm only letting the hairs touch the paint tray. And then when I paint on my paper, I need to make sure that I only let the hairs touch the paper too. So notice how I am painting with only the hairs touching. I am not going to let the metal part of my paintbrush touch the paper, and I'm definitely not going to paint like this. That is not a good way to paint. That's going to ruin the paintbrush, and it means you can't paint very well. So instead, I want to paint with just the hairs touching my paper. And I can get a little bit more water. If I need to spread that paint out, only the hairs are going to touch the paper. And if I want to switch to a new color, then I need to rinse my brush. If you forget to rinse your brush, all of these colors are going to get mixed up. And when the colors are mixed up, they're not very much fun to paint with because they become kind of a weird, gross color instead of bright, beautiful colors. So I'm going to go to my next color that I choose. I'm only letting the hairs touch the paint, and then I'm only going to let the hairs touch the paper. Whenever you run out of paint, you just get a little bit more water, get a little bit more paint, and you can keep going.